Welcome back to the Modern Woodcarver Podcast. Today's guest is someone whose work genuinely makes me smile every time I see it, Tom Parr. Tom has this incredibly unique, whimsical cartoon style to his carvings. The expressions, the proportions, the personality, they almost feel animated. His work is playful, expressive, and full of character, but still unmistakably his own. Not only is he a talented carver, but he's an incredibly talented artist. There's a deeper understanding of form, movement, and storytelling behind what he creates. He's not just shaping wood, he's designing characters. One of the things I personally love is seeing his process from drawing out his ideas first, really developing the character on paper, and then executing that vision flawlessly in wood. Watching that transition from sketch to finished carving is something special. What I really admire about Tom is how intentional he is with bringing wood to life. His pieces feel like they have thoughts, moods, and a little bit of mischief in them. In this episode, we dive into how he developed that cartoon inspired style, what drives his creativity, and how he balances technical skill with personality in every piece he makes. Tom, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. They are such nice words. I've never heard anyone say nicer words about me ever. Thank you very much. Yeah, really happy to be here.
No problem. Yeah, I'm glad to have you here. I mean, your work has been amazing. I've been following for many years now, and you know, I'm just always impressed with what you're, you know, coming out with next. And yeah, I think they're
Yeah,
incredible.
I'll be honest. I surprise myself with some of the stuff that happens. Like the way you introed me there, it makes it sound like I have a plan for everything. And whilst it might look like I do have a plan, there's definitely a lot that's been cut out that was just like pure luck.
Yeah,
I imagine. I mean, you've probably got a similar experience where you go, right, I want it to look like this, and then halfway through, you're like, this is not working. This does not look like I think it's going to look. And then by the time you finish, you trust the process and it works, and you're like, oh, pulled it off.
yeah. And for me, there's also like 5 or 6 variations before I actually have a finished piece. You know, there's a
Yeah,
whole bucket off to the side that's reject pile, and sometimes I revisit it later. But yeah, the way your stuff is it's just it looks so well thought out from start to finish because you have those paper sketched images. You do the front view, the side view, the arm details, and you just kind of map out every little piece, and then the finished piece looks identical to what you drew.
yeah. I mean, I suppose it's kind of like well, I guess it's making a template for what you're going to make, right? If in my head, if I can get a rough idea of what I want it to look like and make it look clean enough on paper, essentially you're tracing that on, and then you already know what you're making. It's just doing it right with the knife. But I think planning things out in advance is like it's something I've learned from my day job. So as a day job, I'm a graphic designer, right? So I'm doing branding and stuff for all different companies. But like you have to plan things out, otherwise it just doesn't work. But I think from what I've learned from my day job is that you go from right, here's what I want to make. What are the problems am I going to come across? So that translated over to woodworking might be right. What wood am I using? Am I going to use basswood because it's easier, or am I going to go with like a walnut? It's a bit tougher, but it will look so cool when it's done. Or am I going to mix some woods together? And how is that going to affect my blade? Is it going to take things 10 times longer because I've got to strop it every 5 minutes or whatever? So if you can plan those things in advance, it just makes the whole project go so much smoother. But as you met, like, I mean, I'm lucky enough to sort of have a background in art and drawing and stuff, so I can sort of visualize those things and what I want them to look like before making it 3D, really. So bit of practice, and it's something we could all do.
Yeah, I mean, having a background in art and drawing definitely helps with the hobby. It's not entirely necessary, I don't think, but it definitely gives you a bit of an edge. I don't say I'm hit or miss. If I'm doing something new that I haven't done before, I'll draw it out on the wood first, you know, and I'll
Yeah,
cut to the lines and everything and shape it. If it's something I've done already or relatively simplistic, I don't necessarily draw anything out. I'll just use a few different reference lines, center lines, things like that. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I
I
found like
I do
go on.
like. I was gonna say I do like the carvers like yourself that actually draw them out and execute it. Because sometimes it doesn't always come out the way you drew it, and you kind of come out with this happy accident,
Yeah.
and it's a it's like a nice little added bonus that you created something slightly different than how you intentionally planned it.
Yeah, and I think it's nice. I think again, going back to sort of like trust in the process and just keep going. It's sort of, make it exist first. I keep saying this everywhere. Make it exist first and then make it
Yeah,
better, you know? So it's,
yeah,
and I think there's something about like the nature of wood and stuff. Like if your wood like chips off and you go, oh, well, I've just lost an ear or a character. Okay, well, what am I doing? All right, well, this is now an earless character. Let's put a story behind it.
yep,
Oh, how did they lose their ear? Oh, they
yeah,
turned out to be a fighter. All right, cool. Blah, blah, blah. And you kind of make your own story behind it and you adapt. And it's part of the nature of woodworking, right?
yeah, yeah. And I think that's where a lot of beginners get hung up. They have a specific plan in the beginning of how they want the carving to go. And when something doesn't go exactly right and something chips off or breaks, they kind of just toss it to the side and start over. Whereas I feel like the more experienced carvers will tend to keep going and adapt and recalibrate their design. And most of the time, you end up with something a lot cooler than you initially intended. I mean, some of my favorite pieces that I've done um, were mistakes that were made, and I just calibrated to it. There was one I did a wood spirit, really cool face, nice beard, and everything. And I was cutting out the eye, and my blade slipped or something, and a big chunk ripped out from under the eye. And I was so pissed off, and because it was right at that last finishing stage of the
It's
piece,
always at the end. It's
and
always at the end.
yeah. So what I ended up doing was like I was like, oh, you know what? That kind of looks like a scar. So I just extended the line and cleaned it up, and it came out to like a really cool looking eye scar, like a battle wound.
There you go.
Um,
Perfect. And that's
yeah,
it. That's it, isn't it? It's
yeah. So
adapting
it
to the
looked
situation.
intentional, but it wasn't.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. One thing you and I kind of share is a love for Wallace and Gromit. Um,
Oh,
a
yes.
lot of your stuff is Wallace and Gromit inspired, and I
Yeah.
love it.
I think it was one of those things like, I mean, being in the UK and being English, it's like such a part of our heritage. Like, it's ridiculous how crazy people go over Wallace and Gromit and how much it is, you know, referencing to like the Queen. It's like second to the, it's just ridiculous. But, um, but yeah, so I think I pushed out I carved out feathers and grawn, like a tiny one. So I think I've made two feathers and grawn now. But the first one, um, I did it just because the new film was coming out, and I thought, oh, it's a nice way to do it. Try and you know push something that's just a bit more mainstream, I guess. Um, and on TikTok, I mean, it went absolutely insane. I don't push much to TikTok. It's just like regurgitated stuff from Instagram is my main thing, and I put it on TikTok. But just looking at the stats here, it was so 483,000 views, 50,000 likes,
Wow.
415 comments, 5,000 shares. And I was like, that's it. I've made it. After the TikTok, I've done it.
Hey,
And,
that's it. You're a major influencer now.
oh, that's it. Yeah, one video. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, and
one
then you're
video.
like, and then obviously after that, it completely falls off a cliff. But it's one
Yeah.
of those things that I think it's tricky to do, right? Because like, yes, I love Wallace and Gromit, and I think it's great. And I like, there's so many other pop culture references that everyone draws from, right? Any creators of art
Mhm.
draw from something. And I think it's something I've noticed recently is that I think it's important to make your own stuff. Like, yes, it's nice to make these pop culture things like Wallace and Gromit, and I think it's good to do that because it gives you like a good grounding on how they created that character, and it makes you understand that character a bit more. Um,
Yeah.
I found myself sort of chasing the pop culture stuff just for like likes on Instagram. And I think it's a trap that a lot of people fall into, especially with artists and illustrators and carvers. It's sort of like, oh, let's see what's popular. Oh, what's coming out? Oh, there's a new film coming out. Oh, let's do a character of that or whatever it might be. And I think, yes, that's a great thing to set up a project about. But I think it's more important to sort of explore your own sort of style and just make some wacky things. And it doesn't matter about the likes on Instagram. It's like if you enjoy doing it, it's awesome, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people get hung up on chasing other people's approval online for their artwork. And I mean, I'm guilty of it. I've done things that I just feel like, hey, this, I want people to like what I'm doing. Um, but yeah, I find that when you start to do that more often, you kind of lose track about what you are and what you're creating. And you start not enjoying the process and not liking your pieces as much. I mean, unless they're getting like you, thousands, hundreds of thousands of views, then yeah, maybe you'll like it. But yeah, most of the time, that's where I feel like the burnout happens, chasing those Instagram likes.
Yeah, and I think
Um,
it's a trap we all fall into, and it's so easy to do. I mean,
yeah,
I'm completely guilty of it as well. Like, I will literally go, right, I'm going to make this because this is popular right now, and then you're halfway through
yeah,
the carve. You're like, why am I doing this? Like, it's not fulfilling
yeah,
the reason I carve and like all that sort of stuff. So
yeah,
yeah, it's a
yeah.
minefield
Because
out there.
now you're doing it for others and not yourself.
Yeah, so now I'm currently working on a new thing called a small adventure, which is just like a little YouTube series. It's a nice, calm, like carving thing. There's no talking over it or anything like that. It's just really nice shots of just making these characters. Um, and that's kind
Yeah,
of
I love them,
grown.
by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm really happy with how they're sort of turning out so far. I mean, they are. It's so the two characters. Well, there's currently I think I've pushed out. There's one adventurer and there's like a little mushroom person. But there's another
yeah,
character coming. I mean, where are we? So yeah, so we've got this is the main character. This one little here.
yeah. That one I saw the other day. Yeah, he was
Yes,
great.
that's going out. Yeah, so this is B, and then you've got this little mushroom person who I think they're maybe called like I don't know, like a sporling or something like that. It's kind of a cool name for it.
Yeah,
Uh, who's like a little companion. And then I've got my next sat
yeah.
down.
The woman character. Yeah,
Yeah. So they're gonna be sat
I saw
down.
that actually today
Yeah, I
in your
literally think I just
Instagram.
out this morning. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but yeah, so those the two characters, the main character, the two human characters, they're based off my daughters, who both have completely
Oh,
different
that's nice.
personalities. The yeah, my eldest is a bit more cautious and considered, and then my youngest is just like a whirlwind, so she's a bit more crazy.
Oh,
But yes,
that's great.
it was just a nice way to sort of without getting too soppy, but like it's a nice way to sort of keep their sort of youthfulness, if that makes sense, within these little characters. Yes, and it's also when you choose something quite close to home, it's quite easy to create because you know the topic, right? Um,
Yeah.
and I think this project, whilst it's still in its infancy, I think like the goal for it would be to take these characters out to the woods, woodland, and all that stuff. Take some really nice photos and shots, and possibly put together like a little storybook, and based on carvings rather than like illustrations, um, and see where it grows from there. Really. So that's my current obsession is creating these
Oh, I love
characters.
it. No, I love the whole story behind it. I'm a big fan of whimsy and the whimsicals carvings, and I think you capture that perfectly. And this is coming from someone who didn't know the backstory, and now knowing that backstory, that it's based around your daughters, and I think it's just fantastic. And I love to hear those types of things because I'm always curious how people come about their original designs. And I mean, I figured because you're an artist and you drew things, I just thought they were characters you thought up out of your head, not necessarily based on real life people. And
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
and
a
I'm
lot
always
of my
curious how you come about it.
yes. So I mean, a lot of my previous stuff has just been that. It's just been like, oh, what shall I make today? Let's do a funny drawing and see what happens. I mean, I think
Yeah,
like going back to this sketchbook again. This is a relatively new sketchbook, but look, there's like random stuff. There's like dinosaurs, cavemen. You know,
yeah,
It's
I love those drawings.
but
I
yeah,
love how
like
you
it's like.
capture every angle of it.
Well, I think it just goes back to sort of understanding what it's going to look like when it's done, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I'd flick through these and just just you can probably see some of the ones that I've actually carved out in there. Um, but I
Yeah,
think like just scribbling and making something fun is great, but when you've got a bit more of a grounding, it just makes it feel a bit more like you're accomplishing something and you're building like a bigger world. But yeah, I think
yeah, that's
yeah.
incredible. And how did so I know you're an artist and all that, but how did the carving aspect come into play for you? When did that start?
So it didn't start that long ago. I mean, so it was 2023, I think, February 23. So only three
Wow.
years ago. Um, and I was just like flicking through Instagram. I've been doing a lot of like hand drawn art, and then I moved more into like digital art, just on like an iPad. And it complemented my work quite well, my day job. But then I stumbled across a guy called Dan Hero, or yeah, Dan Riggett, who is Dan Hero at Dan Hero on Instagram. Are you familiar with his work?
Don't think so. It doesn't sound familiar, but I'm sure I've probably seen it if
So like,
he's active in the community.
so I mean, I stumbled across his work, Dan Hero. I stumbled across his work in 2023, and I was like, oh, that looks fun. That's the sort of like, sort of similar sort of style of characters that I like working with. Oh, maybe we'll just pick up some wood and see what I can create. Um, so I literally bought the cheapest carving kit I could find on Amazon. It was like I think I've
Yeah.
still got one of the knives. Yeah, so it was a detail knife like this. I mean, it's got stuff on it because I stuck it onto a frame just to
Yeah.
memorize it. But yeah, detail knife like this, and a more of a like a roughing out knife, and just a block of basswood. That was it. I think it cost me like 15 quid, not even that. And I was like, right, good. This
Yeah.
is a cheap hobby. I can do this. uh, and then I went to town for like hours trying to whittle out this. I think my first thing was a boot. Whoa. Yeah, this is my first ever carving. It's
Oh,
like a
that's
little
amazing.
pirate boot with a bone sticking out the top. But like that's the first
That's
thing I
really
ever
cool.
made. And I was just sort of like, again, I didn't know what to carve. I thought, oh, let's try and make something relatively simple,
Yeah.
something that's a bit more wacky that not necessarily every woodcarver's making. Um, and then from there, I was like, yep, this is me now. This is my hobby. I love it.
That's great. I mean, in 3 years, you've exploded in terms of skill. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
that
think
the
I,
amount of detail and depth you get in each carving is incredible for just 3 years.
I think when you learn how to sharpen a blade properly, it becomes a lot easier.
Yeah. Yep.
um,
Definitely.
so I
Yeah.
think I started off with. I mean, I'm sorry, I keep turning around and showing you things, but I started off with this is my first pocket knife, just a little Swiss Army Victorinox, um, and
Yeah.
I started carving with this um, without like a modified blade or anything like that. And then that's when Dan Riggett reached out to me and was like, "Oh, I'm really impressed that you've managed to get that much detail. You should try like changing the blade and how it's shaped. Have a look at my one."
And
And so the small blade on this, I sent it off to like I didn't know what I was doing. I sent it off to like a knife sharpener. So normally this is like I think it's like a bayonet shape or something like that. So it's got like a whole number edge to it. Completely different shape. But this changed everything. Like this was like, oh, so this is what a sharp detail knife should be like in the form of a pocket knife. And once I
Yeah.
discovered that, I was like, oh, well, now I can try out this detail. Oh, now I can do this detail as well. And it just sort of grew from there, like finally having like the proper tools. Well, I wouldn't actually say that is a proper tool. I'd say that is quite gimmicky for a woodcarver. Um,
Yeah.
it's good for like whittling, but I mean, I use this way more than I use any of my other knives. Um, but yeah, I think
Interesting.
it's just a case of the sharper your knife, the more refined your details can get, right?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I mean, everyone who starts out always usually starts out with an incredibly dull knife, and they think their knife is sharp, but it's not carving sharp.
Yeah.
It's just regular type sharp, I guess. But and then they don't have the proper understanding of stropping or sharpening, or um, they start to force things, and that's when they cut their hands, and then they quit.
Uh,
Um, they get
and then,
super frustrated. In the beginning, you know, when I first picked up a knife many years ago, even before I really got into it, I was like, I can never get this thing sharp. Once it got dull on me, I was so frustrated, and I put it off to the side. And I tried sharpening it to what I thought was the proper way, but I ended up making it worse. And I never
yeah.
got it sharp. And then I just was like, I ruined my knife. I don't want to buy a new one. And then little by little, I just picked it up, and I had that same starter knife that I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just really dedicate a bunch of time to making this sharp. And that's how I learned how to sharpen. I had a knife that I didn't care about, and I just was hitting it with the stone over and over and over again, making new angles until finally that sharpening technique kind of clicked. And then
Yeah.
that was it. Then I have it
That,
down
that's
packed.
that's exactly what I did. I did exactly the same thing. I was like, I mean, it was just how. Sorry, by the way, how long have you been carving for? Like 15 years, right?
No, actually. So I've been a woodworker for about 15 years, but
Oh, okay, right. Cool.
I started, yeah, I started getting into like the whittling carving thing about 7 years ago, 6 years ago ish, during COVID time.
Yeah, yeah,
Because my daughter was born at that time, and I couldn't make the loud noises, and
yeah.
I just didn't have the time to dedicate to actually building things. So I picked up a block of wood and whittle a little bit, put it down. I'd go feed her or play with her, and then she'd nap, and I'd go back. So that was really it, and I kind of just spiraled out of control.
And how many years into that did it
But
take you to learn how to sharpen a blade properly?
so you know what the sad thing is because I came from that woodworking background, I already had the knowledge of knowing how to sharpen things, but it was mainly chisels, and they're
Right. Of
flat,
course.
and
Yeah.
there's jigs you can use. Um, So I never really like actually dedicated much time to knife sharpening, but once I did put the effort in, it was relatively quick. I'd say within a month I had it down to where it needed to be. Um, and then over the course of the years, you figure out things to make it a little easier, and you know
Oh, yeah.
how to,
There's all that stuff. I mean, it's
yeah,
keeping on
how
top
to
of
strop
like,
better. Yeah,
yeah, exactly that. How to strop better, how to keep on top of the maintenance of the blade and stuff. If you look
yeah,
after it, it will work way better than if you just leave it to the last minute to then all of a sudden you're getting, your whetstones out every week and you think, why am I doing
yeah.
this? But I was similar to
I
you. I did
also
exactly.
think, oh yeah, I also think a lot of people tend to overthink it, and it's really not as complex as some people make it out to be. Like oh, you need a 20-degree beveled angle, and you know they get really nitty gritty, and those help. But I think it just confuses the beginners a little bit more.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I remember YouTubing how to sharpen a blade, and there was like, I mean, there's thousands of videos, and you're watching someone
Yeah,
sharpening, like a kitchen knife, and you think, well, this doesn't help me. Like, I'm not using a kitchen knife. Um, I think ultimately everyone finds their own way to doing it. I saw a video the other day of a guy sharpening an axe, and all the comments, everyone was losing their mind because he was doing it all wrong. And at the end of it, he just
I
goes,
saw that.
"Yeah,"
I saw that. Yeah, they
and
said
you
it
think
was
like,
too shallow or something. Yeah,
yeah, and you think everyone finds their own way of doing it. If it works for you, it works for you. Great, fine. But I was the
Yeah.
same as you. Get a cheap knife and just work at it until it's as sharp as I want it to be, and then I go, oh, that's what you need to do. I'll do that with my other knife.
Yeah. So what brand of knives do you actually own?
Oh, I've got loads of different
Or
ones
what's your favorite?
at the moment. My favorite is actually this one, which is by a guy called Gemin on Instagram. It's just like a little, I think it's like an inch and a half Floyd, just really simple handle to it. But this thing's like
Yeah.
super sharp, and it's so useful. He
Is
actually
he
sent me. Go on.
is he a UK knife maker?
No, I think he. Ooh, I don't want to get this wrong. He's either American or Canadian. I don't want to. I don't want
Gotcha.
to upset anyone, but yes, I think he's not in the UK. So no, he's not UK, and I actually had to spend a lot of money to get it here. So me
To
and
get it shipped.
yeah, which is ridiculous. Like it was cheap, and then it hit like a customs fee, and it was just annoying. But
Yeah.
but yeah, we did a trade actually. So I messaged him asking if he still had a ore carver. Like these things. This one, like it's like gold dust, right? These knives.
Yeah.
I saw he put a post out a few weeks back, like prior to contacting him, saying that he had it up for sale. And I messaged him and I was like, "Oh, look, like if you still got it for sale, happy to pay for it. Let me know what the cost is and how much delivery is, blah blah." He was like, "Oh, so what about if we do a trade?" And I was like, "Yeah, we can do a trade. What do you want?" He said, "Oh, could you do me Wallace, Gromit, and Fells McGraw?" So I was like, "Yeah, sure, of course, anything, that's fine." And so
Yeah.
I put all those together. He sent me this ore carver. He sent me the Sloyd, and there's also a detail knife. It's all on the floor, and there's also this detail knife, which is pretty cool handle on it.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, it's pretty smart. But I snapped the tip off of it. I
Ah,
I was like, I just got too cocky, and it just
yeah.
went, oh no. So I need to
Yeah.
resharpen that. But yeah, they're my favorite knives right now. I've done a lot of work with Flex Gut Tools. Um, they sent me one of their pocket carvers. I think I've got two of their knives. So I've got I mean, they all come in these fancy little bags.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I have a bunch of flex cuts.
yeah. I mean, they turn up super sharp. They're so good. But I went for a stage where I was like, I'm only ever going to carve with a pocket knife. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but like, I'm only going to carve with a pocket knife. If I'm going to get them, I may as well get a decent one. So they sent me this Trijack one, which has got like 3 big blades and a little blade in it. Um, and then they sent me a Pocket Jack 2.0.
Yeah, I have.
Like the smaller one. It's not the silver one, but
Oh, see, I
but
got I got the silver one.
yeah, you got the big one with the because that's
Yeah.
got like the spoon scoop on it as well, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Was
which
that
I never use.
yeah?
I
And
use one blade out of the whole thing.
yeah, and I'm exactly the
Yeah.
same, right? Like this blade has got me through so many things.
Yep.
Probably used this more than I've used anything else in my
Yeah.
collection of tools. Um, but yeah, if anyone is looking for some knives and things, just Flex Cut. You can't really go wrong with their stuff, and
Can't go
you're going to
wrong. Yeah.
quickly. It's going to turn up sharp. Like you're not taking any gambles. Um,
Yeah. That's what I really do appreciate about flex cut. They come sharp straight out of the box, whereas
so
some
sharp.
others you need to work at a little bit.
Yeah,
And
and
they're
then,
quality. They'll last you a lifetime, and
yeah,
you know, and they're not expensive. They're not going to break the bank. So if you're
yeah,
getting into
exactly
the
that.
hobby, it's a great. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like things like I think the one you've got is probably a bit more versatile, but like these ones are great because you can go ahead and do a little sculpture, but then you might go, oh, I want to carve a spoon. I can do that with this thing as well. So
Yeah.
it gives you the
The-
options to try out different things.
So the reason I like that particular one is I carry that with me everywhere, every day. It's on my belt. Whether I'm carving or not, I just like to have it on me and a piece of wood. If I go to the park or wherever, I can pull it out and start carving away. Whereas the standard fixed blade, knives, you can't really carry those around. Or if you do, you have like a holster for it. It looks a little
Yeah.
strange.
Well, you know the rules about carrying knives in the UK, right?
I know knives in the UK is a touchy subject. People,
Yeah.
you know, are stabbing each other
There's
left and right over there.
well, we haven't got guns, so they're just using the next best thing, I guess.
Yeah,
Which is
I
the
guess.
blood morbid, but yeah, I mean, so in the UK, you can't carry around a knife that's longer than I think it's 3 inches or a locking blade.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
think in theory, if I was to use this out in public, like that would be illegal. But I can use like this or carver or my flex cut, like no problem at all.
Interesting.
Um, but I think, I mean, I've never heard of anyone getting picked up on it. Um, you know, I think most of us as carvers will go find a quiet corner and not fuss anyone about carving anyway. So you're very unlikely to get
Yeah.
picked up. But yeah, I didn't know about that until
Yeah.
I was at work one day and I took my little whittling. You know, I've got a little tin of whittling stuff in, and I was just in the park just whittling away. This guy came over and was like, "Oh, so what knife are you using there?" I was like, "Oh, it's this flex cut. You know, it's an American made, like really good knife." And he was like, "Oh, does it lock?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "You know that's illegal." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Google it." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll do that right now." I don't want to get arrested
Interesting.
for carrying a knife I'm not supposed to.
I have a similar law here in New York. Um, you can't carry something, I forget what it is, 3 or 4 inches in length, and it can't be quick release or gravity fed. It has to be like a pry open if you carry it.
Yeah,
If any flick open or like that's illegal, I don't think you'll get arrested. I think maybe they'll confiscate it. I guess
yeah,
depending on what you're doing with it. But yeah.
yeah.
I've always carried a pocket knife with me. And I've never had any issues, but I've never been stopped. So I don't really
Yeah, so I
know
think it's
what
one of
would
these things.
happen.
As long as you've got a reason to have it, it's fine. Like if you turn around and
Yeah.
said, "Oh, well, you know, I'm a woodcarver," like this is, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, sure, fine, fine, whatever." You're not just
Yeah.
randomly carrying a walking around with a sword, are you?
Yeah, if you're not like waving it around and brandishing it and you should be fine.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think
Interesting.
yeah, it's an interesting one, and I didn't have a clue about it until probably about a year.
That's crazy. Yeah. There's a UK knife maker that I love his work. I actually own one of his knives. He goes by Ash and Axe.
Yes. And where is it?
Um,
Where is it? I've literally just yesterday received a blade
you
off of
just
him.
got one.
I
Okay.
literally just got one. I've not.
Interesting.
I mean, I
Yeah.
hadn't mentioned it, but yeah. I've got the blade. I'm in the process of making. I mean, look how shiny that thing is. It is. It's beautiful. I can see you in
Yeah,
the.
that's great.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah. So I've got the blade. I did a really elaborate unboxing because why not? And
Oh, is that what you were unboxing? I saw the unboxing video.
yeah, yeah. So it was this, just a little blade. And then so now
Interesting.
I've been doing it today actually. So I've got some silver birch, a bit of yew as well. Just because
Oh, very cool.
I had a really big silver birch out in the back garden that we took down when we first moved in, and we've got I mean our house we live in is called Yew Tree Cottage, and there was a massive, great big yew tree out the front, and we chopped it down because it was blocking all the sunlight from
Yeah.
our. So yeah, so I figured a little bit of yew, a little bit of silver birch, sort of giving it a bit of a heritage to the knife.
Oh, that's
But yeah,
great.
I've now got to figure out how to make a knife handle out of it. I don't think it's too difficult.
Yeah, that's not too bad. No.
I've never
Yeah,
done it before,
you'll figure that out really.
but yeah, I'm determined to get it done pretty quickly so I can start using it because I tried it without a
Yeah.
handle on and it's so sharp, like it's great.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
in terms of like UK based like knife makers, his stuff is like insane. I think his name's Adam, isn't it? Adam Ashford or something. His stuff is so good.
yeah, I'm not too sure his name, but I love his knife. I It's a great knife. After I bought it, so I got the Sloyd style knife.
Ashworth.
Um, and unfortunately, I don't like Sloyd's. I found. So it's nothing against his knife. I love it. It's sharp. It looks beautiful. I just, I they don't work for me that well. It's not my go-to. Occasionally,
Yeah.
I'll break it out if I'm doing something with it, but it's more of a trophy knife for me now at this point than
I mean, I
a
think
usable knife.
as carvers, we tend to just collect knives for the fun of it without even realizing, right?
Yeah,
Like I bought that blade
yeah.
because I've been watching a lot of oh, what's his name? Nadav. What's his name? I can't remember his name. But there's a guy called Nadav on Instagram and YouTube, and he does like these really nice, calm videos about like carving bowls and all these things. And he makes so much like useful stuff. I'm sat here with a load of figurines that don't have any use whatsoever.
A little figures,
Yeah,
a
but
little
like so.
whale in the background.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So there's all these things and
Yeah.
like jam jars and stuff to make stuff out of. But I thought if I can get and sorry, but going back to my point, he uses like a quite a long slide knife to do all his woodworking stuff. So he might be making like a spoon or a bowl and stuff. And I thought, oh, I'll get one of those. It will help with like the bigger carvings because there's more like long draw
Yeah.
um, sort of cuts and things. But yeah, I'll let you know how I get on with it.
You know, one of the carvings that, or subjects that I really like that you do is those little tiny jarred helmets. So
Yeah,
you make these characters and you put a little jar on their head as like a
it is.
astronaut helmet.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love those.
so we got a little
I think that's
alien,
such a cool idea.
and I've got three total. I've got a load of jam jars. I don't know if you can see them, but at the top there's some jam jars waiting to be used. I've just not come up with any characters yet. Yeah, we've got a little octopus whose sword won't stay in his hand. Anyway, there's a little octopus with a hook. It's quite fun.
Oh, that's very cool.
And then yeah, there's like some weird fish man that's stuck in there. He's a bit too big for his gap in the shelf, but yeah, that was a fun little project. We went very English, went for like a cream tea at a National Trust place, and they had these tiny little jam jars, and I was like, oh, I could use this for something. It's one of those things. I think everyone looks at them and goes, oh yeah, I'm going to take that home. I'm going to wash it out. I'm going to like put a plant in it or something like that. And I was like, no, I'm going to make a helmet for a whittled character because that's a normal thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, I love the innovation that you have with all this stuff. You always seem to come up with these new, really unique ideas, things I've never seen before in the carving world. So you
Yeah,
definitely you have a good eye for characters.
I think uh, one of the most awesome things I had. So I've got just over there. I've got a small tabletop bandsaw, um,
Mhm.
and the blade broke, and I was like, oh, that's so annoying. And then I was like, oh, well, I don't know what to do with this. And I ended up making a pirate character. This is another thing. But yeah, I ended up making a pirate character with the blade, like just a
Oh,
bit of.
that's really cool.
So it's almost like a what would you call it? Like a swordfish or whatever it would be. So yeah, so
Oh,
he
that's
now
really
has
cool.
a sword in his arm. But yeah,
And I
this
love that your carvings move too, like
yeah,
their arms and their legs.
so I've got a couple that move. I mean, his hat is magnetized on, tiny little magnets in there. But yeah, so his head moves up and down, his arms move. And, have you seen? There was like an over the garden wall, sort of. I don't know what it was. It was like 10 years anniversary or something like that. And Ardman, the same guys that do Wallace and Gromit, were brought in. They did like what looked like um, wooden characters like this, all made up for stop motion stuff with moving arms and limbs and stuff. And I reached out to one of the guys that worked on the project on the show, and he was like, "Oh, it's not wood." I was like, "What do you mean it's not wood? It looks like it's perfectly carved." I mean, you'll have to check it out. I'll send you the link after this. But like,
Yeah, I'll have to.
it looks like it's made from wood, and it's not. It's made from like polymer clay that they've then sliced off as if it was wood. Um,
Interesting.
so I sort of said to him, I was like, so how do you put these characters together? Because quite clearly, like, you don't have a normal like armature framework thing that you'd have in like something like Wallace and Gromit. Um, and he was like, "Oh, you just use bits of like aluminium or wire or whatever in the joints. You just make a hole, stick it on the side, stick it the other side, and then you have a moving joint." And I was like,
Oh wow,
it's really,
very
it's,
simple.
it's really that simple." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Yeah,
So gave it a go, and yeah, it worked out quite well. I think the first one I did, surprise, surprise, was a Wallace and Gromit one, which I think is quite terrifying. It
yeah,
smells a little bit too intense, but
yeah.
yes, yeah, it's a bit wobbly. But yeah, that sort of seemed to work, and I went down that route for a while, making my characters sort of move and things. And the idea was to sort of put together like little animations and little stop motions with the characters. But I think I moved away from it because it was, I don't know why, but like making something out of one piece of wood seems way easier than making loads of little things and sticking them together.
Yeah.
So I've sort of moved away
Yeah,
from it.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So I mean, I might do it again in the future. Who knows? But yeah,
Yeah,
that's my little experiment.
that's very cool. One thing I like, you kind of mentioned how they used polymer clay to make it look like wood. A lot of your carvings that are the Wallace and Gromit style, you make them out of wood, but they look like clay with how you execute them. So
Yeah.
it's fascinating how well like you're able to do that, and your painting skills, I mean, are off the charts as well because you just managed to capture that
Yeah.
clay-like
So
feature to them.
I've always had a bit of a weird relationship with painting characters. Like I feel like you spend such a long time carving them, hours and hours and hours. It's just sometimes a shame to like paint over it. But
Yeah.
I've never known how to water down colors or use oil paints or anything like that. I've literally just got some acrylic paint and just slapped it over the top and it's worked. So yeah, I mean, I think the last one I painted was this one, which is just like a little alien guy. And I've added some little
Mhm.
glass eyes too. Um, but it's for me one of the biggest things is that I struggled with was like making eyes. Like I just couldn't do it, and I've tried so many different variations. Um, Dan Hero, who I was on about earlier, uses like a UV setting like nail polish. It's like a black.
Okay.
No, sorry, it's not. It's just like a clear, almost resin. He'd carve a little hole, paint it black, put a dollop of this resin in, and then let it set for a bit and put UV light over the top. And it made like a perfect ball shape, and it just mimicked whatever color was underneath. Sorry, and it just mimicked
Hmm.
whatever color was underneath. Um, and then I was like, "There's got to be an easier way than this, surely." So now I use, I think they're called like craft eyes, which I would highly recommend everyone to get. But you get like a little bag of these tiny glass black balls on the end of like a pin, and then all you have
Yeah.
to do is just drill a hole, stick it in, and you've got an eye. It's
Oh,
like
that's
the
pretty cool.
simplest way to make an eye, right? And it saves you
Yeah.
hours of faffing about with UV glue and stuff. uh,
Yeah.
and there's
Yeah, eyes
also
are incredibly difficult to
so
achieve.
difficult. Yeah. And
Yeah.
one of the more recent things I've done, going back to this guy, is I think they're called like cobertrons or cobertron. I don't know, cobertrons or something like that. And they're just basically like a half glass ball. And again, you just carve out the area you want, paint your iris and pupil, and then just stick one of
Mhm.
those on top, and you've got a perfect eye.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Yeah, if
With a
it can
little,
make it simpler and easier to make, why not?
yeah, exactly. Because there's nothing worse than getting frustrated with making a tiny little detail like that, and then you finish it and they're like cross-eyed and they just look a bit mad.
Yeah. And also, I mean, a lot of your characters are tiny. So like making an eye, you're looking at this microscopic little
Yeah, I mean they're so
section.
small.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know what the smallest carving I've ever done is though. It's probably I think it might be the mushroom that I've just done. This one's pretty small. Well, they're close. Well, these two are tiny.
Yeah, I mean, that's insane. I don't
But
know
yeah,
if you're ever on the wood carving Reddit forums.
sometimes yeah,
Do you go on those?
yeah. I've gone on a
So
couple
there's
every
a
now.
guy on there. I don't know his name, but he's been posting a lot recently, and he makes really tiny carvings, like little shoes and little mice and they're like this big. And I
Oh,
have no idea how he's getting the detail he's getting and how much time that must be taking doing that.
yeah.
But they're incredible. I mean, and I always admire that level of commitment to something that tiny.
It's a bit too much commitment sometimes. And you try and put way too much
Yeah,
detail in.
I would.
There's a real fine
Yeah,
line to putting in like too much detail and making it too simple, which I think
yeah,
is quite a difficult thing to get right. But when you get it, it's obvious. But yeah,
yeah.
the hand cramp working on small things is horrible.
Not even that. It's just like I'm scared about like holding a tiny piece and slipping because you got
Yeah.
a knife this big
Oh,
and a little piece like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's I've only ever cut myself on small ones, like the really small ones, is because of that.
yeah,
Because there's just not enough purchase there. Um,
yeah. No way to
when you're
hold it
cutting things that
properly.
small as well, if you put too much pressure in, it's just going to go straight through the wood. Doesn't matter how much wood's between that and your
Yep,
fingers. So
right into your fingers.
yeah, you just got to go slow and steady. Do you carve with gloves on or not?
I don't. Probably should, but I find the gloves more harmful than helpful. Um,
Yeah,
I feel that I'm holding the piece with the glove. You don't necessarily need the glove in your knife holding hand because you're
no.
not really so you're holding the piece with the gloved hand, and I find that I can't get the right grip. My glove feels loose. It tends to slip a lot more. If I do use any form of protection, it's the finger tape.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um, that sticky finger tape. And I'll tend to only use it on like 2 fingers,
yeah,
mainly one, my thumb, because the constant pressing against the back of the knife will give me calluses and bruises, and then the other one I'll put on my finger just in case I slip, but
yeah.
yeah, I find that using the glove, it is helpful, and I feel like people should definitely use it, um, but I feel like it gives you a false sense of security at
Yeah.
times because you protected by the glove, and you could still cut through the glove
Oh yeah,
or poke yourself through the glove.
yeah. It doesn't
So
stop
I
stab.
just rather err on the side of caution and,
Yeah,
make sure you're holding the knife right, the piece right. If something doesn't seem right, take a step back, think about it, you know. Always
yeah,
be mindful of where your hands are, and I found that
yeah.
served me a lot better than wearing
Yeah,
the
I mean, I
knife
think I'm
wearing the
exactly the
gloves.
same. Like I'm exactly the same. I started when I wore gloves. I started off wearing gloves, and then within like a space of a week, I was like, no, this isn't working. It's like trying to tie your shoelaces with gloves on. It's you just don't have
Yeah,
the enough, you know,
yeah,
dexterity with gloves on to do what you need to. And I think, like you say,
yeah,
as soon as you practice more and you go slower, you're going to get better anyway. I mean, one thing
yeah,
that I notice as well is like if a cut is like quite hard to do, like you just said there, just stop, take a second, because you're going to push that too hard and it's going to slip and go through your hand. Like so, now I find a lot of my carvings are done with really tiny little cuts, just because one, it's safer. Two, it makes a massive difference to the surface. Like it looks almost sanded, but not. Um,
yeah.
and yeah, and then you're just sort of, you will eventually get there. It slows things down a little bit, but it's a much safer way of doing it.
Much safer, and also when you slow it down like that, your carving comes out cleaner. You're
Yeah,
not ripping off massive chunks of pieces. You're not breaking things. Um, your
yeah,
hands will
exactly.
feel better too. They won't cramp up as much or get blistered.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly that.
I think, yeah,
Yeah, so slow and steady wins the race, I guess.
definitely. And you also mentioned doing some YouTube videos. Is that something you plan on continuing and doing more in the
Yeah,
future?
yeah, I think so. I'd like to. I mean, so at the moment, it's just sort of building up, I guess, like a base of characters and a bit of a story. Um, I'd like to go in. I think the main reason for it at the moment is just like if anyone wants to zone out, go watch the video. You're just going to watch some nice ASMR stuff, wood carving, lovely little bit of
Yeah.
soundtrack in the background. It's not going to, there's no flashing images or anything like that. It's just something you can zone out to. That's the main idea at the moment. I think if it builds a bit more traction, I might do a few tutorials and how tos and carve alongs and things. But I've got my next videos coming out 10 a.m. UK time tomorrow, and
Oh, okay, great.
it's of this little mushroom guy. But I have
Oh,
when it
that's
goes
really
live,
cool.
I've got a little pattern for this as well. I had someone ask me on socials earlier if I had a pattern for it, and if so, could they have it so they could make one as well? So I'm going to put a little pattern out for people to carve along with the video. So if anyone fancies giving it a go, I'd love to see everyone else's variations.
Yeah, that would be great. I should give it a try as well.
Yeah, we'll have a little carve off. I've got another
Yeah.
alternative like head to it. I've got like so. I mean, this honestly, the body of this took me like 5 seconds to make, and the head took me like a couple of hours. Like it was ridiculous. Like the hat bit on top. So I've got two different
Yeah.
variations, but I couldn't for the life of me figure out how to do like the inlays properly. It's not something I'm very good at.
Interesting.
Um,
Yeah.
I, I got there eventually. Trying to be persistent with it.
Sometimes the simple things we tend to overcomplicate when it's really just a very easy, like the guy with the pins in the arms for the clay.
Yeah, exactly
It's
that.
just a very simplistic. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that happens
very
quite a lot.
interesting.
And I get in my head quite a lot about like the details and like, well, how am I going to do this? Oh, I need to do it like this. And I'm like, I should have just cut it one way and it would have looked so much better because there would have been a shadow on it. You don't have to cut it from both directions, and
Yeah.
all those little things. But yeah, just got to try and blank it out. And the main reason I carve is to sort of just zone out and chill out. Spend a lot of my day staring
Yeah.
at a screen, and it's nice to end the day with some calming wood carving that's not going to, you know, blind your eyes.
Yeah. I think we're all very similar in that regard. We all just like to take a step back and calm down and have a show off in the background and carve away.
Exactly that. Yeah,
Mm.
you can't
Yeah.
really beat it.
I keep waiting for you to carve a chicken run style carving.
It's on the
I
card.
feel like it's coming. Yeah.
It's on the
Yeah.
list of things to create. Yeah, I think I've got to do it. I've got an interesting like mashup between sort of like chicken run and a pigeon. I don't know why, but like I've
Okay.
got I've drawn it out some. I don't know. It's in one of my sketchbooks somewhere, but like it's like imagine chicken run, but there were pigeons instead of chickens. It's just silly things like that, like putting together like because I think again going back to the Aardman style of things, like that could translate over to so many different things. Um,
Yeah.
that it's a relatively simple way of doing things. Like when you look at the shapes, so it's quite nice to carve into, and you basically build up the whole shape, and then you can carve the details into it because that's how they would have done it with the polymer clay.
Yeah.
But yeah, chicken run is on the cards at some point. I don't know when, but
Who inspires you the most? Which carvers do you look up to, or doesn't have to be carvers? Maybe it's in the art world, or
yeah, I mean, I don't want this whole podcast to be about Wallace and Gromit, but Aardman are up there. Like the stuff
yeah.
they do is insane. Like the character creation. Have you seen there's a pirate film they made? It's like pirates. Oh,
I
have
don't
you?
think I've seen the pirate one.
Yeah, if you just Google like Aardman pirates, and like the character creation in that is insane. Like they're way more detailed than Wallace and Gromit, but like the sort of
Yeah.
the same eyes and mouths are sort of there, so you can still tell it's their style. But yeah, the stuff they create is awesome, and they keep churning out stuff. And yeah, it's so exciting to see what they do. And my kids love like Shaun the Sheep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm always being
Yeah.
asked to make
Shaun the
some
Sheep.
characters from that.
I'm kind of wondering if there's some of their stuff that doesn't make it mainstream over here. Um, like I know Wallace and Gromit is, I mean, obviously big, and Shaun the Sheep. They did that movie where they're playing soccer. I forgot the name.
Oh, the caveman
Um,
one.
okay, yeah. There's that, and yeah. Any others, I don't think I've really seen come to light. And maybe
Yeah,
just not actively looking for it, or
I'll
but
um, I'll, I'll send you
yeah,
some
I
links.
wonder if they don't make it over here.
Yeah, I'll send you a link to the pirate one because it's just great in terms of like character creation. It might give you some really good inspo, and like the world setting in it is it's a bit more
Yeah,
it's just a bit fun because it's all pirate themed. But
I do
yeah,
love the claymation.
the claymation stuff is so cool. I don't know
Yeah,
how I have the patience to do it, but like it's
yeah.
really impressive with the stuff they make. I think a lot of my inspo comes from that sort of stuff. So you've got the Arman Studios, you've got is it Leica or Lakai or whatever it is, the guys who make like Kobu and the Two Strings. It's all like stop motion stuff.
Oh, Kobe and the Two Strings was great.
Yeah,
Even Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, that was
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, all that sort of stuff. I just
Um,
think it's so impressive.
you know,
Like to
yeah,
have the patience to do it and to get the details they have. And like these mannequins are like they're tiny. They're so small.
yeah,
Like
they're
when
tiny.
I went to the Wes Anderson exhibition in London the other week, and it had all like Fantastic Mr. Fox and the one with one of the dogs on the island, um, and like when you see them up close, they're so small and there's so much detail in them, and they've all got like proper
Yeah,
clothes on. They're not just wearing like a fake paper t-shirt; they're wearing like
yeah.
fabric.
No, they're like actual fabric clothes. Yeah.
Oh, it's insane the attention to detail. But yeah, I think it's something I'm trying to add to my carvings now. Just like those extra little um, accessories and things, like making little bags and hats and things. I think it just elevates things a lot more, and it also gives you something to base your
Oh,
character on.
100%. Yeah. Like your most recent character carving, the adventurer, he's got the satchel and the stick, and I feel like those two elements just completely elevated the character 100, tenfold,
Oh,
because it gives it that little pop of color that you weren't really expecting, and um it just yeah, it just tells a story along with the character.
yeah, and I think it's important to do those sort of things, like especially with like storytelling. If you can keep something consistent, like I do this in my day job as well, but like sort of like a red thread that connects everything, like it just gives everything you do a way more depth. So, for example, like with this new series I'm doing, the idea is that they're all going to be following a map. And then this map is going to sort of make an appearance in everything that they do. It will be there somewhere in the background. Um,
Yeah.
and I put a little mini tutorial on like how I take my photos. Um, and I was sort of like, you put stuff in the foreground that just like, like wood chippings or whatever, just to give it a bit of depth of field. And then in the background, you might put something like a block of cheese or something just a bit fun, just to
Yeah. Yeah.
sort of reward the people for looking at your image for longer than the 3 seconds that everyone's attention span is. And they sort of go, "Oh, why is there a bit of cheese down there?" or whatever it might be. And it just makes things a bit more exciting for your audience, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. I love it.
Thank you.
Right.
So what's next for you then? What have you got planned? How's the podcast going?
So the podcast is going pretty well. I'm having a lot of fun doing it, actually. I was still getting my toes wet with it. It's still awkward at times. The f- the first two episodes are solo episodes. Um, so I've had the biggest struggle just talking to a camera with no one
Yeah.
there. So personally feel those two are a little bit stiff feeling. But the interviews have been going extremely well, and I've been replaying them and editing them and listening to them over and over again, and it's just incredible. I'm so appreciative of everyone that's been wanting to do it, you and everyone else, and it's been really nice to actually speak face to face with people of the community.
Yeah.
A lot of them I've spoken to over the years, like you and I've had a few back and forths,
Oh,
nothing
yeah.
major.
I do. Well, I think it's always the case, isn't it? I think with a lot of carvers, I mean, I talk to so many people online, and it's like, they go, "Oh,
Yeah,
this is awesome," and you're like, "Oh, thanks, dude." Like, but unless we do things like this,
Yeah, that's it.
if we
Just
expand it at all. But this again, like I said when we started, like this is such an awesome sort of venture you're going on. I think it's really cool that
yeah.
you're doing this.
Oh yeah, and I like I said, I'm not really doing it for anything, fame or glory or anything like that. I'm just doing it to do it. And I'm just having fun with it. And it's been really interesting so far. And I have some really cool people lined up for future episodes, and a few of them are people that I've spoken to for many years. Talk to daily about carving and just what's going on in each other's lives. Some friends and things like that. But yeah, it's been really interesting getting to hear people's backstories and why they do what they do, and hearing what their day jobs are, and they have this whole other life outside of carving that
It's
um, we
I mean,
only see on Instagram is their carving lives.
I wish I could carve for a living. That would be the ultimate dream.
It
But
would be
it's
amazing. You
yeah,
wouldn't be making much money, but
yeah, live a simple
yeah,
life. And then saying that, there's a guy I follow
yeah,
online, and he lives in the middle of nowhere in a little uh, not in a shack. He lives in the middle of nowhere in like a little wooden cottage and like log cabin. He just makes coffee scoops, and I was like, he put a post out the other day. I was like, guy, you are living the dream. You have no idea how many people would love to live that. Um,
oh,
because
tons of people.
it's so nice. But yeah, he was like, "Oh, it's tougher than you think." I was like, "Oh, yeah, I could imagine." But
Yeah, I bet.
but yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I
I
think
always I always assumed like the big YouTube carvers Doug Linker, and
yeah,
I always assumed that he didn't have a day job. I thought YouTube was his thing, and years later he had a video and he was like, "Oh, my day job," and I was like, "This guy works?" Like I was like, I thought all
uh,
he did was make YouTube videos, but he
yeah,
has a full blown job, and I was like, where does he find the time to actually sit down and that? Because he'll make
uh,
like 15 of the
yeah.
same carving just to record one video.
Oh, I mean, he smashes
Um,
those things out so quickly. I don't know how he does it. Like the stuff he
I
makes
don't
is
know either.
so quick, and he's like, "Oh, just a quick tutorial," and it's like an hour long. If I'm past even the roughing out stage after an hour, I'm doing well. Like, how can you make
Yeah.
so quickly?
Yeah, there's times I've followed along to some of his tutorials and it's taken like 3 hours of pausing it and rewinding it. What did he do here? And lid cut and
Oh, it's
but
insane.
he's been doing it for forever. So
Yeah,
he's got a good hand on it, and
so
he's got
talented.
good knives and sharpening. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really, really
Yeah.
good. I
I
mean,
would
he
love
must
to get him on the podcast.
one day we'll get him on. We're all
Yeah.
everyone you get on, everyone that comes on the podcast, get them to send a message to him, bombard him with messages.
I'm also not gonna limit it to specifically just wood carving. I wanna get chainsaw artists on, I wanna get spoon carvers, I wanna get sculptors, I wanna
Yeah,
do, people who make things out of clay, and because it really is all within the umbrella, it's sculpting and
yeah,
carving, and so I would like to get some. I think not in the first season I would do that, but in the second or later seasons of the
yeah.
the podcast, I would get some clay animators on, or just everything kind of. Or I would love to get like a rock carver,
That'd be
couple of
cool.
rock carvers,
Uh,
and
yeah,
because I
like
want to branch it out to just everyone.
well, it's anything, isn't it? I mean, even just down to the tools that people use. Like, I mean, I've got like mechanical Dremels and things like that that I never touch because I
Yeah,
prefer working with a knife. But like, there's some people that use those on rock, and they're it's under like a tap, and they're making like the most amazing things. And you think like,
yeah, and there's power
well,
sculptors and traditionalists and
yeah, there's
whittlers. There's
cool stuff out
you
there.
know, yeah. And everyone has their own story, like everyone has how they started and their style, techniques, and I'm just kind of curious to explore all of that and share it with everyone.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Like, I'm really looking forward to it. When something like that, yeah, see if I can keep it up. But yeah, it's
All
been a
right.
pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, same to you. I mean, it's great to actually meet you and, get to do this. Where where can everyone find your work, your Instagram, your Etsy website? Please
Yep.
share your.
So if you want to check out some of my stuff, on Instagram, it's at Tom_Parr. On TikTok, it's _Tom Parr. And on Etsy, if I ever put some stuff onto my shop, is Tom, all capitals, lowercase u, and all capitals Parr. Because it wouldn't let me put an underscore in it.
I'll definitely link all of that stuff in the description of the podcast.
There's a couple of things on there. But yeah, the plan is to sort of start pushing out some like templates and things so people can get on with.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I just think it's nice to give people something that's, not just like a bird, something that's a bit weird. I want people to be carving.
The one thing I see all beginners do is this little fox, and I guess
Yeah.
there's a YouTube video out there of the same fox, and I'm like, getting tired of seeing that.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. It's nice to make things that are a bit different. But yeah, I hopefully there'll be a few more things out there of carvings that I've done that people can mimic. And hopefully we can, between all of us and everyone else in the community, we can keep things going strong.
Tom, I really appreciate you taking the time to share your journey, your process, the heart behind your work. Conversations like this are what this podcast is all about, highlighting not just the finished carvings, but the artist behind them. If you're listening, make sure you go check out Tom's work and follow along with what he's creating. Seeing his sketches turn into finished pieces is something special, and it's worth your time. Tom, thanks again for coming on and being open with us today. It truly means a lot. And to everyone listening, keep carving, keep creating, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Modern Woodcarver Podcast.